one of the fastest ways to increase the satisfaction in your relationship is you start to do things that are novel, that are fun. It's research proves that we can throw you out into some lame, obstacle course, and you could come back and you're going to rate your partner and your relationship like off the charts. So this is adding that spice back into our life that probably we had.
Hey, midlifers, welcome to the Midlife Makeover Show. Are you ready to break free from your mundane midlife? Are you feeling trapped in a vicious cycle of rinse and repeat days? No matter if you're experiencing a divorce hangover, job burnout, or you just have the midlife blues, I got you. Hey, I'm Wendy, your hostess of the Midlife Mostess. I too was hit by midlife like a freight train. I too felt stuck in the same dull chapter. I wanted the clarity of how to create a new life beyond divorce and the courage to leave an unfulfilling career. But I kept telling myself that I wasn't worthy and it was just easier to stay in my comfort zone until I found a little secret, the freedom to live my life my way. In this podcast, you will learn how to achieve a vibrant midlife mind and body, how to create solid relationships through love and loss, and how to create an awesome second half of life. Grab your grande latte, pop in your earbuds, and let's get this midlife party started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Midlife Makeover Show. I am so happy to announce that I am recording my first episode from the beautiful island of Madeira, Portugal. I've been living here for a little over a week, and I must say that Madeira is even better than I imagined. If you follow me on Instagram, then you might have seen my video that I posted with highlights of my first week. It has been epic, to say the least. I've been hiking the gorgeous mountains, strolling through the exciting city of Funchal, exploring the lush gardens full of exotic flowers and plants. So cool. Eating yummy Portuguese food. Okay, maybe a little too much. I can't resist. Drinking delicious poncha, which is Madeira's special concoction of, I think, rum, orange juice, and honey. It's just good, whatever it is. Again, maybe a little too much, but hey, when in Rome, when in Madeira, I should say. And I have simply been relaxing in the island sun. Needless to say, you guys, I do not miss the dark, cold days in Chicago at all. Wah, wah, wah. I have received a ton of comments from people asking me, why Portugal? So, on next week's show, I will share with you why I decided to move to this big little island off the coast of Africa. Plus, I will share some really cool, fun facts about Madeira. Make sure you tune into that show. In the meantime, follow me on Instagram and watch my stories and posts where I share what this wild woman is doing every day. Oh, and you get to meet Miss Daisy too. She is our little teacup Maltese that cruises around in my backpack and gets to enjoy all the fun adventures. I am literally driving Miss Daisy. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Also, sign up for the Midlife News at themidlifenews.com to receive insider alerts on new episodes, live shows, free workshops, and special offers. As a bonus, you'll receive your free Midlife Makeover Toolkit and a $50 coupon to the Midlife Makeover Method online course, which is my 4-week self-study online course where I teach you how to break free from the cycle of monotony. And maybe you'll just get up and move to an island off the coast of Africa. But seriously, you'll be able to jumpstart your midlife makeover with clarity, courage, and confidence. Okay, and now I want to introduce you to today's guest, who specializes in helping couples reconnect and redesign their second half of life together. Dr. Liz Jenkins is a licensed marriage and family therapist, certified life transitions and relationship coach, and has spent her professional and personal life deep in the science of identifying just exactly what has held couples back from the success they deserve in their relationships. Dr. Liz divides her time providing remote relationship coaching, writing, guest speaking, and building additional programs to assist individuals and couples in successfully navigating couplehood while spending time with her family, her critters, and friends near Austin, Texas. I love Texas. Please welcome Dr. Liz to the show. Dr. Liz Jenkins, welcome to the Midlife Makeover Show. I am so excited. We're already laughing because we hit record like right in the middle of something silly.
That's great. That's great.
I know. So excited to have you on the show. And we have so many good things to talk about. And I was sharing with you, I've had so many divorce attorneys on the show lately, and it'll be so nice to talk about designing your life together at midlife when the nest gets empty and then you're looking at each other going, okay, now what?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell everyone a little bit about what you do and how you got to do what you're doing right now.
Okay. Well, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist for 37 years, and I'm a certified, I call myself a connection coach, but a relationship and life transition coach. So it's a nice blend. And I've been, in the field and doing this, like I said, for 37 years. Been together with my husband for 37 years, married for 35 years. So it's a nice blending of my worlds. And so personally, professionally, I do that. And so I really work with couples as well as individuals, singles, women and men that are looking to where am I? How do I take care of myself? Where do I want to be when I kind of grow up? And so with my couples, I work with them on identifying the strengths in their relationships. We're so focused on what's wrong. What are the strengths? What were the early years? And how do we reconnect and redesign in a way that makes sense for you? And it's so many life stages that we go through. So whether they're just getting started in a relationship or marriage, or they're knee deep in kids or careers, or like me.
Exactly.
We've launched, fingers crossed, and we've launched our kids, and now it's time for us to say, what do we want to do? And and come
so
back.
Where do you even start with that though? Because so many people are like deer in headlights. Like, now what do we do?
To me, I think it's the first thing is like put a pin drop in it and recognize this is where we are. We are lost, right? And we don't really know what we want, what we like, what we don't like. Maybe we have some hints because our priorities and our energies and our focus has probably been on, maybe it's taking care of elderly parents. Maybe it was raising children or critters, because we have lots of critters type of thing, or a career. And so we really have lost some touch with where we are and what we're going in the next direction. So you put a pin drop on it. I love to have people tell me about what was fun for themselves, because we gotta start with ourselves, right? And show up. And then what did they love and like about the relationship in the early years? And that helps. We start getting some ideas and start brainstorming and helping ourselves, helping them, helping us see ourselves in a different spot, a different place. And that starts to lay the roadmap for
and I think that's so important to start with yourself. Like each person is going to take a look at like what do I like? Because and that's the thing, when the reason you guys, a couple got together, maybe if it was 15, 20, 30, 37 years ago, whatever. Like it is to remind yourself of what attracted you to begin with, what was that love built upon? And then even though you would naturally evolve and change throughout those years, you're still that core would be the same, I would think and hope, right?
Right.
So really, and I think I don't know. I would think it's about trying to find what you really like individually and then collectively.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because there's a certain core parts of you. And like you said, hopefully we've evolved. We've gotten more complicated, more fantastic, more whatever. And so we've layered, because absolutely my, 28-year-old self is a whole lot different than my 62-year-old
Yeah.
self. But
Yeah.
there's still some traits that are nice and some traits that are irritating. You can just ask my
Right.
husband. And so those things are still part of the core and sort of the values of our interests. And so we definitely want to recapture that. But it's also like letting go of some of the labels that we had.
Mhm.
Even like I mentioned, okay, 62. All right.
Right.
There's labels around 62 that sometimes
Right.
say, oh, you can't wear that, you shouldn't do that, it's not safe. Maybe you should sit down and not exert yourself, type of thing. And so, and then there's the other side that I embrace. Like, I really don't know. I'm going to change the color of my hair. I'm going to
Right.
go, I'm going to have margaritas for lunch in the middle of a workday kind of thing. Because I
Move to
can't.
Portugal. I
Right,
mean,
there you go. You're setting the bar high there, Wendy. you know, but so
Yeah.
I think it's to help design and allow ourselves to get creative and say, instead of no, it's like, why not? And let's start putting
Mhm.
these things on the table and to come together with your spouse or your partner and say, we've had a really
Yeah.
great run on this. And yes, life has taken its toll and we have the things in the relationship. Where do we want to see ourselves? Where do we want to be? What
Mhm.
does that look like? And so then we start putting the dreams and the interests together and,
Yeah.
and moving forward.
Make that bucket list and start
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
crossing things off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had a couple, a while back, but they came to me and like many couples do, is that they have gotten lost in the priorities of life. And they say, we're not
Yeah.
having fun anymore. We've been together. I think they were like 25 years. We already know what everybody's going to be doing and saying. We're sort of rinse and repeat. We're kind of stale. We
Yeah.
don't think we should stay with each other. What do you think? Which is sort of kind of goes
Mhm.
with some of your other guest
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let's talk about the early days. Early days. Obviously, you care enough about each other and your relationship. It's an investment of your time. It's an investment of your energy.
Right.
Let's look at the, the ROI of this.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we don't want to let go, but we don't think there's any options. And so that's where
Uh,
I think some of the old myths about long-term marriages that get stale, the spice
mhm.
drops, you have to settle, or if there's differences or you guys didn't see eye to eye, maybe during parenting times,
Yes.
now's the time to like roll in the key and run from the relationship or run from the marriage. I'm like, no, let's not do that. So we went back
Right.
and said they enjoyed music, and they started talking about, and you can start seeing how people's energy comes when they're talking about their favorite things. They love music. They had lots of dance dates and dinner dates and clubs and music and concerts. And so I asked them something real simple. So what music do you play in your house right now? And it was like crickets. Zero, zero. Even
Wow.
Alexa and Google wasn't sitting up, saying, hey, remember the old days. It wasn't doing any music memories. And so I said, let's play something. Let's do that was fun. Let's add music in and let's see what happens. Within 2 weeks of them playing music, they came back a different couple. They were smiling,
Oh,
they were connecting, they were sitting with each other because they were saying, we play music when we get up and we're kind of boogieing around and maybe I'll spin around in the
yeah.
kitchen, or they're doing it. And so it's that energy and it taps into those old memories and they've reconnected and they're redesigning their second half kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're going to do tours of concerts around. They
Oh,
like,
I love it.
so that's
Yeah.
one of their little to
Well, like you said earlier, it's about, being creative. And
Mhm.
I think midlife
Yeah,
is such a great opportunity to create, whether you bring back something that you used to like or you something completely brand new that you've never
absolutely.
experienced before.
Yeah, because you don't
Yeah.
know until you try, right?
Right.
You
Right.
know.
So what happens if one person wants one thing and the other person's like, I don't want to move to Portugal or
Mhm,
whatever,
mhm.
right?
Yeah. Well, what we sit down and we have some really great discussions. Um, I want to know from if I'm on the receiving end, let's say my hubby, because he's a surfer, he goes, well, I want to move to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Like, okay. all right, let's have these conversations. And we have had these kind of conversations about where we will relocate. Tell me the why. What's in it? What's your dream? What's your desire? What do you hope or want to have be different by this change, by this relocation? Okay.
Yeah.
To Portugal for that. And then the other one talks about maybe for me, if I'm the one that's hesitating, what would be my fears? What am I worried about? What would I feel like I'm losing by making that? And because it's a big gift to relocate, to sell a house or move abroad, or even just, sell the family house and move someplace else. And so as we start to get back into that, we're hearing our partners' desires, their dreams. We're hearing and we're sharing our desires, our dreams, and our fears and our worries.
Yes.
Many times I suggest to people to test drive that dream. All right.
Right.
And so the Portugal thing, and I had a couple that they compromised. They were going to go move to location A for 2 years to get themselves to settle, to be open-minded. And then at the end of the 2 years, they were going to reassess. If she wasn't 100% on board, because she was the one that was reluctant, that they came up with an option B. And so they're already compromising, they're sharing and taking influence from each other. And by the way, they ended up staying in option A. They really
nice. Oh, good. Yeah. So she moved past those fears and
right.
She
stepped in and connected. So it is about having good connected conversation, even conflict conversations. Conflict is actually a really great thing in relationships. And so if people are in there and they're in this stage of like, well, we fight a lot or we don't fight at all type of thing. Fighting effectively, having good conflict conversations effectively. But when you're not fighting, someone's not being straightforward, honest, or they aren't in touch with themselves. So I would expect this stage, as we're discussing, would kick up some dust.
Right. Conversation is great because I had told a friend the other day, I was like, don't think of it as conflict. I was like, we're just having a conversation.
Right.
Like it doesn't have to be anything scary. And it's good to hear what the other person wants anyways. And I think sometimes in marriage or in a relationship, sometimes people are afraid to speak up and say, you know what, I actually want to do A or B or C. And what do you think about that? And sometimes you never know. The other person might be like, you know what? That's great. Like
I never thought of that. I would be one. I never thought about that. Like Portugal,
So are you able to work with people like nationwide or how does that work?
Yeah. Good. International.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Only thing we do is like tweak on the time zones to see.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I interviewed someone in Australia yesterday and I was like, that poor thing, it was like 6 a.m. over there.
Coffee.
I was on my third cup.
That's cute.
So tell me about some of the courses you have.
Okay. I have, my Smart Couples Restart. It's a 6-week sprint and it's designed around research. It's all research based, but it's designed around when couples are coming to me typically, or to each of us, they're a bit discouraged. They've been trying things at home. They're a little bit lost, a little bit confused, and we want to get some enthusiasm, some optimism in each other, as well as the relationship as quickly as possible. And so research has found that when we do the sprint type of work, you quickly build on that momentum continues. And so when they come to me, we do a foundations first assessment. And so that I get all the details, all the background. It helps me identify strengths. I'm a big proponent of strengths. We want to play on strengths. And, so.
Isn't that interesting though? Like we're so used to sometimes as a society that we concentrate on those weaknesses instead of like, oh, I can't do this because I lack this and this and this, instead of like using those strengths to really push past all those weaknesses, really.
Exactly. And and effective relationships, usually not equally matched. A team is equally matched. And so,
Right.
ideally we play off of each other's strengths and talents and skills and, support each other, bring each other up. So we look at that. And then I meet with each person individually. I get the backstory of what's going on from their perspective. I get the snarky stuff that I need to know about. I think about their spouse. And then we come together as a couple and we design a roadmap that plays off of their strengths and then identifies their gaps or the wishes that they want. And
I love that.
yeah, it's fun. And the thing is, it's not just the time we have together, because I also have we get VIP WhatsApp access. So they get a one-on-one private chats with me, or we get a group chat. So I've get called in many times like, hey, we just got stuck on this problem, or we're having a conflict conversation and we don't know where to take it. How do we de-escalate? And so I'm right there just talking them through it. Yeah.
I think that's so great, because to me, it's a way to be proactive in your second half of life, instead of like just keeping doing what you're doing. And then 10 years goes by and you're like, wait, what are we doing? Why did we?
Right.
And or just sticking, even like with what you were saying with the labels, right? Of the norm of what you're supposed to do at midlife and your second half of life. You should stay close to the children. You should do this. You should do that. Like, you have to, so there's certain things where I feel like we do it because that's what you're supposed to do. Or even, I think I shared with you, there was a couple that retired at the age of 50. That's not the norm, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. But then it's like, we think we have to stay doing what we're doing until, this certain age, then to retire. Like, well, there's so many options now. And I think that's what I love, is being able to explore those options.
It's beautiful when we even realize that we have options. Sometimes we've painted ourselves into our own box of what the checklist is, or what's the right thing or the appropriate thing to do. And so it's really being able to step back and dream forward together.
Yeah.
We really, really want to be doing that. And
which makes it so exciting to do that. I think that's so much fun. I mean, I think of the world as like a playground, it's out there. You should go and experiment and go play and have fun, because as we know, life is short.
Yes. It's been we've had evidence of that way too many times. It's too serious. And so it's time for us to play.
And you're right. It is. I'm all about having fun. And I think sometimes like people, don't be so serious. Get out there. We don't know if we have the next hour or the next day. So you might just go for it. All those things you've talked about doing. I mean, and even nowadays, especially since COVID, we've found out ways that we can work remotely. There's so many.
We're doing it.
That's how I know you're in Texas. I'm in Illinois. I mean, that we could do this, right?
I know. It's great. And we can stay connected and work and do the things that we want to do, or we can just enjoy kind of our life and our sense of self. So it is.
So you've got that one course. What's the other course? You have another one too.
Yeah. Well, and then that bundle, there's something called a Weekend Reconnect, and it's also a standalone. It's self-paced as well. But Weekend Reconnect is where in my ideal world, I designed it so that we could take it and a couple could take it, go to whatever place that they want to do, and do just an intensive immersion in their relationship, just really focused on them and escape and kind of reboot. The reality for a lot of us is it's broken up we break it into like date night, bite-sized, nuggets, where I've got a list of important topics and issues to go through, and they're fun, and you get to see me on the videos with whatever hairstyle I've decided for that set. I always like to change my hair, but it's got the video, and then there's these handouts that you can download and you can do together. Some of it is you can do on your side, then you bring it back together, but you work through these, and it prompts you to these exercises where you start to get out of your comfort zone or out of your box, as well as what I find is so many of us, when we started dating and we started in a relationship, we showed up with the very best tools about what it means to be in a relationship or be married or be a partner. But some of those things we learned from maybe our parents, if they've
Yep.
outdated. Some of them are incorrect. Maybe we've learned from social media or other things. And so I've designed, here's some real strategies. If they're effective, they're fast, and you kind of clean up your conflict, clean up your communication and intimacy. People think,
Yes.
oh, well, you're older, you shouldn't
Yep.
be in that, or that's the way it is. Like, no, we can clean that up. We can spice it up to whatever level both of you feel comfortable. So the whole thing is there, and it's if you can take it and go have a nice evening someplace and really
And
have a
I think it's
focus.
so cool too. It's just that to go through the transformation together and
Yeah.
consciously
Yes.
and mindfully.
Hmm.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I feel like if you didn't do that, like one person's going through one thing and the other partner's going through something else. And then the next thing you know, it's like, wait a minute, you're not on the same page. So it's nice
Right.
to go through that together.
Absolutely. It's a big win. It minimizes the disconnect between two people. Like we're talking, we're
Mhm.
going through the same things, but it also reminds you of a lot of the activities I have. It's the things that you probably did in your early years, and we
Yeah.
dropped those away. The manners, the excitement, and you talked about
Yeah.
relocating to Portugal or the couple moving. One of the fastest ways to increase the satisfaction in your relationship is you start to do things that are novel, that are fun. It's research proves that we can throw you out into some lame, obstacle course, and you could come back and you're going to rate your partner and your relationship like off the charts.
Yeah.
So this is adding that spice back into our life that probably we had. And
Yep.
we need, if we did, we're going to learn it because we're going to have
Yeah.
some.
Yeah, exactly. I think from careers and kids and paying the bills and mowing
Mhm.
the yard, it's like, wah, wah, wah.
I know. It's like, what do you want to do with your free time? Free time? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I don't know. Let me look that up in the dictionary.
They talk about the empty nest like it's this horrible thing. I was like, oh my gosh, you'll have all the time that you used to
Uh-huh.
complain about that you didn't have. Like now you have it. Like
Right.
do what you want to do. I mean, it's awesome. Play the
Yeah.
music, right? Like
Yeah. Learn a language, play the music, take
I was
art.
thinking too, it's a great way to be each other's cheerleader as you're going
Mhm.
through it. Because I'm
Mhm.
sure that there's fears that bubble up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We as humans do struggle with breaking, the routine and things. That was a survival mechanism. It was probably, well, for me, it was very important to have consistency and routines with kids and all those type of things.
Right.
And so when we shift that, yeah, there can be hesitancies or worries, but there's so much of a win in taking that risk of coming together, learning more
Yep.
about each other, improving, redesigning the relationship now, not based
Mhm.
on anybody else's needs, just the two of your needs, and go
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus you're setting a great example, a great legacy. Let's break the old myths. Let's
Yep.
eliminate, dissatisfaction and disengagement from
Yeah,
the.
you're exactly right. Just like you were saying earlier, like, oh, okay, so 62, I'm supposed to like slow down or
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
not color my hair or wear this
Right.
dress or like
I,
who says? I mean,
I know.
especially nowadays, I think a lot of that is changing.
Yeah, who made that rule? Because I went not in my
Oh, I know.
not in
I
my
mean, I've
rule
been
book.
told too I shouldn't be dancing on Instagram. I'm like, why not? I'm like, I like it. I'm like, I don't care.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and two, I was one of my favorite quotes is a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. And
Ooh,
yeah, I know
I
it's one of
like
my
that one.
favorites.
I
But
like
even
that
like
one.
raising the kids in the same routine of
Mhm,
going to work and that and making the dinner, and that can
mhm.
all be very much a comfort zone too. So sometimes it
Absolutely.
does take at least one person in the relationship to shake it up a bit and go, let's get outside our comfort zone. Let's go do something different and enjoy
Yeah.
life.
Yes, yes, and then there's a threat. Well, if you think that sometimes people even like, we want a healthy meal plan. Whoa, does it? What are you trying to feed? I get there's even
Yeah.
the
Yes,
pushback of changing the
exactly.
menu. Now we're changing. We're going to change our zip code,
Yes. Yes.
everything. Or maybe we're going to stay in the same home. Maybe we don't.
Yep.
But our second half or our next things is going to involve different careers or no careers or so.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's also just giving yourself permission to move
Mhm,
on. I mean, if
mhm,
I shared with you, it's like even, last year I moved into an RV full time and I
mhm.
got rid of pretty much everything. And I'm moving to Portugal and I went from, 5,000 square feet to 2,000 to 1,000 to 150, and so now
Wow.
everything I have, it will basically fit into a suitcase.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of moving past that and getting
Mhm,
past the emotion of your past and
mhm.
all those things that are connected. But again, it's nice to go through it with someone and you share
Absolutely.
that, like, okay, we can say goodbye to this 5,000 square foot house that we don't
Right.
need anymore. We raised our kids in it. Let's bless it and move on.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, bless it, sell it, and then, enjoy it in memories and create legacies for your kids or for your peers, that says, "Hey,
Yep.
they don't need 5,000 square foot home with the 3 or 4 car garage that's filled with everything that we don't even remember what we have, but we'll come across it every couple of years when we clean out the garage."
Yeah.
I think that's even like where sometimes like the minimalist and the
Yeah.
tiny home have
Yes.
evolved because people are instinctually looking for something that,
Right.
so
More experience out of life.
yeah,
Yeah. I think I
yeah.
told someone the other day, I was like, yeah, when I'm on my deathbed, I won't be thinking about my Pottery Barn couch. Like,
Right.
God, I'm going to think about the trip to Valencia, Spain. That's what I'm going to think about?
Absolutely. And your children aren't sitting there going like, "Oh man, mom sure has a lot of stuff in her 5,000 square foot house with the multiple cool,"
Yeah,
But
I know.
it's what
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what I hear you doing is that you've been laying the groundwork though.
Yeah.
You went from the 5,000 to this
Yes.
and so this you've been evolving. And I think that's one of the things when people, it doesn't have to be instantaneous. It probably won't
Right.
be this evolution
Yeah.
and getting ready for those next whatevers.
Just like you mentioned, the one couple, like they did option A, they tried
Mhm.
that. Like, let's
Mhm.
try that first. So it doesn't
Yeah.
have you don't have to completely reinvent yourself and rearrange your entire
Oh,
life within, a week. You can
yeah.
do baby steps. Like, let's
Mhm.
start here and try this on for size. And
Mhm.
then we can try that. But I think the key is to experiment and just have fun with it.
Yeah. Get
Yeah.
outside our comfort zone, right? Because
Yeah.
that's where great things happen. To
Yeah, I
kind
was gonna
of
say, 'cause, yeah,
twist your
that's when
quote
you
back
really
on.
I think you discover so much about yourself, the more
Mhm.
that you really leap and put yourself out there into the world, and that's when you're like, "Whoa, I would have never thought that I liked
Mhm.
this or this or this."
Right.
So, I think that's yeah, and I think too, people would be surprised the fears that they can overcome. One of my fears when I moved into the RV full-time by myself was
Mhm.
being lonely,
Mhm.
and I was not lonely. It's great. I would
Yeah.
pour a glass of wine, I'd sit out there and I'd grill a steak, I'd
There
be
you
underneath the
go.
stars in New Mexico. I'm like, "This is awesome."
Oh, I
You
love
never
it.
know. Like, so sometimes, like, the
Mhm.
what you fear the most will end up becoming what you love the most.
Right, exactly, and you just did it and got comfortable with it and feel like, "You know
Yeah.
what? I don't miss washing that 4th or 5th bathroom."
Oh my God,
To do
no.
with, like, there's more bathrooms than there are people sometimes, right? It's like, so I love that you got out of that, and, I know it's made you probably a more interesting,
Yeah.
exciting, engaged person, and that happens whether, like, with individual, but even in a relationship. Somehow our spouse or our partner starts they come alive, and their
Yeah.
energy
Yep.
feeds into your energy and vice versa. And so all of a sudden you've got these really cool couple or a
Yep.
really cool individual if you're listening to this and it's still on your own type thing. And
Yeah.
that's attractive.
Yes.
That's
Yeah. And not having any regrets.
mhm,
And I know for me personally, if I had not done that with the RV, that would have been my first regret. Like, I was like, no, we have got to do it. I have to
mhm,
do it. So I think
mhm.
that's the key is like, if you're still thinking about whatever it is, it's something you've always wanted to do,
Yeah.
you better go do it.
Okay, I love that. This Wendy's advice is if it still bubbles up, put it on the
Yeah.
bucket list, put it on the
Yeah.
let's try this list,
Yeah.
and let's go have some fun.
Yeah. And I think another quote of mine that
Mhm.
is my favorite, leap in the net will appear. And
Mm,
or what someone on my show had said, jump off the cliff and grow wings on the way down. Yeah,
that's
I know. Yeah. And it's true. I think kind of going back to what you're talking about with the strengths. That's where your
mhm,
strengths really come into play
yeah.
because if you really concentrate on what you know you're good at and you leap into something, you leap into the unknown of going like, what the heck?
Mhm.
What are we doing? Oh my gosh, it's insane. But
Yeah.
then concentrate on what you know and what you're good at, and you'll figure out a way. And I think that's
Yes.
going back to the
Yeah.
creative part of it. That's when you get really creative and then as a couple, it makes it more exciting because you're figuring it out together.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're resourceful folks. We just have forgotten all of these
Yeah.
successes for a lot of times, all of these successes, all these wins, all of these ways that we figured ourselves out of tight situations. We just sort of forget that. But when we put ourselves that in that leap midair and we're figuring things out. And also, if we're doing it as a couple, our spouses there, partners there, they oftentimes rise to the occasion and end up surprising,
Yeah.
like, whoa, I didn't know you do
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Neither.
Woo, who doesn't like it? Like,
Yeah.
you have that in you, like,
Yeah. Yeah, and so if it's
brings
fun.
spice back into the relationships.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you're the first person I've had on the show where I have a lot of people on here that like it's all about being bold and redesigning your life, but you're the first one for couples. And
Oh,
I just again want to stress how important I think that is to do that together. And that makes it even more rewarding and more exciting.
it really does.
Yeah.
It further, solidifies the commitment,
Hmm.
that each of you have for each other because you're creating new experiences, you're going on
Yeah.
new things, and yeah, it's a life changer, a game changer,
Yeah.
together. I mean, I still remember some of the fun stuff my husband and I did, climb a 14,000 Pikes Peak in Colorado. Never done that before. We were in Colorado 3 weeks, and so, like, no problem. Let's go where there's no oxygen. Yeah, let's do it. You know, and partway up, I was really struggling, and he just took my pack and he, fed
Uh,
me some trail mix and some water, and we summited and came back down together. And I mean, that really, like, again, was another glimpse into the true character of my hubby and the
yeah.
commitment of the relationship. And so even if one's faltering, like I was like, I don't want to quit, but I can't,
Yes.
you know,
Exactly.
you having that support, having that loving person in your life that says, it's okay, I can carry it for right now.
Yeah,
We're going
yeah,
to
it's true. Yeah. And you kind of lose sight of some of that stuff again with kids and work and
Mhm.
daily chores and things like that. You
Oh
lose
yeah.
that. And it's a good way to remind each other of each
Mhm.
other's strengths.
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
recommit that recommitment because we're both showing up. We're gonna try Portugal or we're gonna try place A, and we're gonna stay in touch and we're gonna grow and experience. And some things you're gonna like and some things you aren't gonna like. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know what too, some people like there's that saying of what's the worst that could happen? How
Mhm.
about what's the best that could happen?
Oh, I love that flip on
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
you know what? It's real easy to come up with the worst case scenarios.
Oh
I've
yeah.
got to, let me create the fear list type of thing. But like, what's the best thing that can happen?
Yeah.
Again, we're really looking at the strength and the positive outcomes and yeah,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
programming our brain to think that way too.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And kind of go what you were saying earlier about the beliefs.
Mhm.
And even just individually but especially in a relationship, these beliefs that we have that we need to revisit some of those beliefs. Where did this belief come from? Who said I can't do this or can't do that? So I think that's really good. I'm glad that you brought that up about the belief system, because I had to rearrange my own belief system.
It sounds like you did a darn good job.
I'm a work in progress, but
we all are. And when we recognize that, then there's always something new to learn or new to change with. But yeah, the beliefs, some of them might be, a mom or dad can't move far away from the kids, or who's going to babysit the grandkids, or the grandkidders, or, just type of thing. So that's too far for you. How are we going to get there? Airplanes, trains.
Yes, exactly.
Type of.
And I think the key is too, to not feel bad or guilty or shameful for really going after your dreams, even if everyone else around you doesn't agree with what you want to do.
Right. And I guess, one thing is recognize, if I'm having that feeling, okay, if feeling is a feeling, it's not a fact. I'm not a bad mom. I'm not a grandmother, but I wouldn't be a bad grandmother. Okay. And so we pin drop that and know that that's a feeling, and it's not based on facts, but it is something that I would want to tease apart, let go, maybe have conversations with my daughters about, hey, I'm doing this. I'm feeling guilty. I'm feeling conflicted. But I need to do this. And so with those having adult conversations and having really, heart to heart, if the person deserves that kind of a conversation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And just speaking up for who you are and what you want, and your values and your new desires that you have. Like, it's totally okay to just, like you said, if you need to even say, sometimes I feel like we explain too much. Like, just this
women do. Women tend to.
Yeah.
Word per minute, they tend to give it the things. But I think we don't want to dismiss it from ourselves. We just want to acknowledge it. It's there. It's part of what, maybe feels like it's holding me back. And you take it out and you look at it and you explore it. Like, do I need this? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. It doesn't serve me and it's not accurate.
Yep, exactly. Where can we find you?
In Texas. You can reach me on my website, which is drlizjenkins.com, or I'm always in my Facebook page, and again, it's Dr. Liz Jenkins, or my Instagram. It's at dr_L_Liz_Jenkins. So you can see there I'm in doing all sorts of fun lives and trainings. I'm always out there trying to share. And if people drop a comment and they want me to create a different training or talk about a certain subject, I love to do that as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a live in Portugal.
Wow. I would love that. We'll just
and your hubby can come surfing.
There we go. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I appreciate the opportunity for all of this time to chat with you. It feels so good to be with some like-minded folks and see you in the beginning of another launch into your next.
I know. Yeah. It's just, I keep opening up new chapters, and keep it exciting.
That's good. I certainly hope you don't finish writing your book yet.
That's actually next on my list, is after I get settled in Portugal. I was like, I have to start writing my book. So I'm like, next on my list. Thank you so much. You've been awesome.
You. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
And now for the nuggets of midlife wisdom from today's show. Number 1, if you're a little lost on where to start, put a pin drop in it and recognize that this is where you are. Start there. Number 2, start with yourself in the relationship and ask, what was fun for you? What do you enjoy doing? What used to excite you in the relationship? Number 3, remove the labels of who you should be at this time in your life. Be who you want to be. Number 4, have conversations with your partner on what you want in your second half of life. Share your dreams and share your fears. Number 5, take a step back, explore your options, and dream forward together. Number 6, one of the fastest ways to increase the satisfaction in your relationship and add the spice back into your life is to do things that are novel and fun. Number 7, get outside your comfort zone. try new experiences on for size, and get comfortable with living a new life in a new way. Number 8, if there is something you have always wanted to do in your life and it continues to bubble up in your mind, then you better go do it. No regrets. Dr. Liz, I absolutely loved our conversation. I love everything that you're doing for couples by helping them to reconnect and redesign their lives together. Make sure you check out her website at drlizjenkins.com and check the show notes for links to her social media sites and her coaching programs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I've got one more nugget of midlife wisdom to share with you. Instead of saying, what's the worst that could happen? Start saying, what's the best that could happen? Okay, midlifers, get out there and be bold, be free, be you. Did this podcast inspire you, challenge you, trigger you to make a change, or spit out your coffee laughing? Good. Then there are 3 ways you can thank me. Number 1, you can leave a written review of this podcast on Apple iTunes. Number 2, you can take a screenshot of the episode and share it onto social media and tag me, Wendy Valentine. Number 3, share it with another midlifer that needs a makeover. You know who I'm talking about. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Get out there and be bold, be free, be you.